Hey, hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. Clearly, today's video is all about Nomad Cosmetics. Now, this video is not going to be for everyone, but I was recently watching a video from Laura. I'm gonna mess up her last name if I say it, so I'll link her channel below. And she had never heard of Nomad, knew very little about them, did some Instagram stalking, and ended up ordering the travel palette. And so I thought, you know, I guess there are people out there who don't know about Nomad. Just because I love them and I buy everything they put out doesn't mean everybody else does. And when I did, I want to say my palette declutter videos, I had asked if anyone wanted to see an in-depth video on the Nomad palettes that I have, and I got one yes. And we know it doesn't take much to get me to talk about Nomad. So that's what today's video is. If this isn't your idea of a good time, feel free to nope out and maybe come back tomorrow for a video. But this is for people who want to know more about Nomad or want to see what I have from the brand. So let's just get into it. So the only order these palettes are in at this point is just smallest to largest. I don't think I love them all equally, but I do love them all. So we'll start with the tiny one, which is the Nomad Air Palette. This is their little 6-pan travel palette. This palette is perfection. It has all the shades to do any kind of wearable, lovely, office appropriate look. If you are very, very, very pale, this is the lightest shade. It might be too dark for this to be like your perfect palette, but the mattes are typical Nomad, fabulous. And these shimmers are absolutely beautiful. There are videos with every single one of these palettes on my channel. I have a playlist of all Nomad palettes. Yeah, they've all been used many, many, many times, most of them. So if you're interested in anything, check those out. And if you don't find something that strikes your fancy and you want me to do something, just leave it in the comment section, because I'm never upset playing with Nomad eyeshadows, or really any eyeshadows. But next up, we have the Nomad Home for the Holidays palette. This was my very first purchase from Nomad. It's all shimmers except for the black matte. This is such a nice palette, limited edition, but so pretty, and I really like this. It's not just a holiday palette. If you're new here, I use my palettes whenever I want to. If it's a Christmas palette and I want it for the 4th of July, that's what I'm gonna do, as should you if you want to. But I love this one. A lot of these palettes are no longer available, but I thought it was worth talking about, because what if you have it and you need, or want rather, someone to play with it and give you some ideas? I would love to do that for you. So next up is the Nomad Santa's Village palette. This was the holiday release of 2022. The other one was 2021. And this is what the packaging looks like. This is gorgeous. Felicia and Auntie are the owners of Nomad, and Auntie is from, I was just gonna say it. Oh my gosh. Finland. Auntie is from Finland. So this was a no-brainer for them to do. And this is 5 mattes and, nope, 5 shimmers and 4 mattes. The shimmers in this palette were a bit ruckusy. They are very hard pressed. Again, if you just scratch at it a little bit with a spoolie or like a metal spatula, wet your brush, they go on beautifully and look absolutely fantastic. This was not a well-received palette because the mattes weren't light enough. The shimmers were hard pressed, but I still really like it, and I used it this past holiday season for Christmas looks, so very, very good, very fun. I have no complaints. You just have to be willing to futz with it a bit, and I am. And if you're not, that's absolutely okay. It's not the palette for you. Next, we have the Nomad and Tuscany palette. This is another 9-pan, super neutral, beautiful. Again, the mattes are absolutely amazing from Nomad. That's going to be a running theme here. You're probably going to get sick of me saying it. And these shimmers aren't the super sparkly, knock your socks off shimmers. They're more like really pretty satin. And just absolutely beautiful. So there is at least one look. I don't think I've used that one a whole lot. I don't know if you can tell, but if you're new here, I really enjoy colorful makeup as well as neutral makeup. So I tend to reach for colorful palettes a bit more. Then we have the Lake Como palette. And this was fun. Just look at the color story. If this is your idea of a good time, this was so fun to play with. I need to use it again. I really, really like this palette as well. Oh, I'm gonna say that 5,000 times. You're gonna get so sick of me saying words. Okay, next up we have all of the 15-pan palettes that I have. Again, in no particular order. That would hurt my brain if I had to go online and figure out when things were released. And like I said, a lot of these are no longer available, but if you have them, A, let me know, but B, if you would like me to play with any of these, let me know. So we have the Nomad and Marrakesh palette. I haven't used this one too often, and it's more of the mattes with the kind of satiny shades. The color story is fantastic. I mean, you've got some fun color, and then you've got some neutrals. These yellows look absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean, no complaints. They are so good. Oh, I know I'm gonna try to stop saying it. We're just going to assume these are all amazing, unless I say otherwise, and I would tell you if they weren't. This is the Nomad, obviously, Jan, oh my gosh, Okavango Safari palette. For 2023, I was on Nomad's PR list, and they sent this to me. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh, absolutely lovely. And some of these shimmers were a bit hard pressed as well. The mattes are perfect. This shade right here, I think it is something Buffaloes. Mighty Buffaloes is one of my absolute favorite shades ever. I just think it's so beautiful. And I love it. I love it so much. And it's sort of similar-ish to the Natasha Denona palette that came out. I didn't get that one. I had this one and I love it. I believe my code with Nomad is still active, as is Shawnee's. Mine is just Jan. It saves you 10% on your purchase. If it is available, use somebody's code. It doesn't have to be mine, but use somebody's, because it pretty much gives you free shipping. Yeah, so use somebody's code. Next up, we have the Royal Europe palette. This was their first foray into multi-chromes. So the whole, well, top row, but actually bottom row, I'm holding everything upside down, is all multi-chromes. These were very, very nice. Again, the mattes are fantastic. This is a much darker color story, so if you're very, very light, you would have to bring in another palette. If I wanted lightness with my skin tone, I would have to bring in another palette, which I have done. I've paired this with another palette. I can't remember. Again, playlist, lots of stuff. But I just thought this was such a lovely, fun palette to play with. I don't like the outside packaging of this one. The Okavango one is like, not faux fur, but you know, it's soft and kind of fuzzy. This one has that like layered paper thing, and it just feels icky to me to touch it, but literally my only complaint. Otherwise, I mean, this is perfect. If you stick around to the end, I'll remember to yammer on about the company, what they do, the people, all of that. I don't want to focus on the palettes now because boy howdy, it gets confusing in my head. Next up, we have the Cartagena Mágica palette. Shawnee taught us how to say it. I knew how to say Cartagena, and this is lovely. I'm pretty sure I pulled this out and did a video pretending that I wasn't in the middle of winter in Vermont, but that I was in the Caribbean. It's so nice. This is such a fun, light, enjoyable palette. So, so good. And would pair nicely with a darker palette. Oh, here we have the newest one from Nomad. I just purchased this one on launch day. It's the New Zealand Stargazing palette. I have really been enjoying this. I need to play with it more. You know, sometimes just having only 2 eyelids is very, very hard for me. It's such a lovely palette. I don't think I've heard any complaints about this palette from anyone. It's so, so nice. I really liked all the looks that I did with it. So, and it's still available. I believe the Okavango and Royal Europe are as well. Next up, we have Tokyo. Look how cute that is. Oh my gosh. And then we have this color story. So in this one, this bottom row is mattes, the middle row is satins, and then the top row is shimmers, which is so fun. I like the setup of this. I like the color story. I love that. Even though it's a pastel palette, there's some depth right there. If you need that in an eye look, this is such a sweet palette. It's one that you just know it's gonna be fun to play with. You know, no like, I don't know, super stress about blending out darker shades. It's just amazing. Next up, we have the Hudson Valley palette, also known as mine and Shawnee's Meet Cute palette. When I tell you how much I love this palette, we have 12 mattes and 3 shimmers. The brilliance behind this palette. These shimmers are the perfect shimmers for the mattes. This red is the best red matte eyeshadow I have ever used, and I've searched and searched and searched. This one is being phased out. They're not going to carry it anymore. And I seriously am considering picking up a backup for that red shade. It's amazing. The rest of the mattes are spectacular. This pretty much sums up autumn in New England, New York. Felicia is from the Hudson Valley, so this one was a no-brainer for her. And it's so good. Get the warm and the cool. I just, the brains behind these color stories. I could never, ever, ever. And then we have the Provance palette. I'm not even gonna pretend like I know how to say it. I do not. Look, oh my gosh. So, so cute. Pastel-y, but not deep, but not. This is just a fantastic palette. Love, love, love. Next we have America's Parks. This was actually the first palette I remember hearing about from Nomad. This was back before I knew anything about anything and didn't know how safe it was to order from indie brands, but look at this. It's gorgeous, absolutely amazing. I can't even. Love it. I really do wish I could just play with these all day, every day. If my 46-year-old eyes could handle being washed off and played with again, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Next we have the Iceland Fire Ice Palette. And this one, look at it. It's stunning. Like, this is knock your socks off beautiful. I love this so much. This green right here is gorgeous. The color stories just blow my mind, how anyone's brain works like that. Like, you could actually take these colors and put them together is beyond me. All right, the last 15 pan palette is the Whistler Snow Lodge palette. If you haven't been here for a while, you may not know, all of the palettes that I purchased were in, I want to say 2021. And one of my subscribers reached out to Nomad and were basically like, Jan loves you. You should know who she is. And then, I'm assuming Felicia, someone from Nomad, emailed me and asked if I would like the next launch as a gift. And I was just like, oh my gosh, please and thank you, holy moly. And that was this palette. I love this palette. An unreasonable amount. I cannot, and it has that shade that I love so much. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the emotional connection, you know, for them reaching out to me and asking if I wanted it, if it's the color story. I genuinely don't know, but green, blue, red, neutrals, depth, lightness. This palette has it all. It has it all, and I love it. Next, we'll talk about the eyeshadow palette I'm wearing on my eyes today. It is the, I was just gonna say it, I'm all over the place, Verona Love and Death palette. So unbelievably beautiful. This palette also had a few of the shimmers that were hard pressed, that were a bit of a struggle. And I want to say there might have been an actual issue with one of the shimmers. So Nomad was replacing them for anyone who got the wonky formula. But this is lovely. It's what's on my eyes today. Jackson helped me pick out the eyeshadows. So this is the look I came up with. This was my Valentine's Day upload. So if you missed it, it'll be under my Nomad playlist. Okay, next we have the Paradise Islands palette. This is one of the 18 pan palettes. 6, 12, 18, yes. And it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. This is the kind of palette, well, they all are, let's be real, but this palette is just amazing. A lot of times will get choice paralysis with this one because I want to put them all on. I like doing a look and then using this, like, I don't know, neon green as my inner corner color. It's just so good. This shade doesn't really show up on me all that well. And this one is not what it seems. It looks pink. I wasn't gonna swatch, but it's like pink and blue, almost periwinkle. And apparently there's eyeshadow broken somewhere because it's all over my hand. So yeah, this one is not what it seems. It's got so much more happening. Most of the time I get so excited talking about these palettes that I think no wonder Nomad kicked me off their playlist? Kicked me off their PR list because I can't even speak fluent English. They didn't kick me off. They take turns with who they send PR out to, which I think is amazing, and I'll talk more about that in just a minute. They sent me this one as well. It is the, did I tell you they sent me the Verona one? That was 2023. they sent me this one as well. This was 2023, and it is the Ghost Town USA palette. And still with the warm and cool and the mixing and the matching, I did a bunch of looks with this palette. It's brilliant. It is so unbelievably beautiful. The options, again, are almost limitless. I just love these palettes so much. We only have 3 left, so this is the Haunted Europe palette. Now the front of this has like the lenticular thing where it flips and it scares the bejesus out of me. So I have mine covered, but there's the color story. Again, just knocking it out of the park. And rumor has it, this is coming back for 2024 spooky season, Halloween-ish. So if you wanted this and you missed it, you will have an opportunity to get it this fall. It's beautiful. I mean, I know I keep saying the same things, warm and cool and light and dark, but it's true. I think Felicia and Auntie put so much thought into their palettes and everything, really. It amazes me. All right, then we have the Monteverde palette. This one is so cute. It's got a little sloth on the front, and wait till you see this one. I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm just saying. It's stunning. I love, love, love this palette. And it looks like it's a super colorful palette, and it is, but it's also a very green palette. But all of the shades in here work with all of the other shades. Again, you've got the really fun mattes and shimmers. It's just amazing. Absolutely knock your socks off. Amazing. And last but not least is the Orient Express palette. Don't think this one is available any longer either. Super fun. This one is definitely more neutral leaning with the blue and the red popped in there for, funsies, but it's so good. The quality is fantastic. I love it. I love, love, love all of these palettes. So before I get too carried away, we're 23 minutes. Darn, darn, darn. Hold please. Before I wrap this up, I do want to say a few things about the brand and the owners. First of all, I don't know Felicia personally. We've never met. We've chatted a fair bit on Instagram Messenger or whatever it's called, DMs, and she just comes across as the sweetest, most down-to-earth, lovely human. I don't believe I've talked to Auntie. It feels like I would know the difference, but maybe not. But she's amazing. And she's not one of those women who is I'm so amazing, my husband's just along for the ride. She gives him credit for things, and I don't know, and they have baby Nomad, and I don't know, it's all just so very cool. And with every palette launch, because they are destination, what are they? Because their palettes are based on destinations, wherever that palette is based out of, they give a percentage of the monies they make to an organization in that area having to do with that place, which I think is absolutely fantastic. The amount of thought and energy and effort that they put into their launches, the packaging, they always do a guessing game and they give away palettes to the winners. And then there's the PR piece, which I was on the list last year. It was amazing. I felt like the most famous person ever. It just felt so cool. And every year they switch up the smaller channel. The bigger channels still get the PR. They're the ones who have the audience, and it's advertising for Nomad or any brand. So of course, bigger channels get the PR because that's where they're going to get the sales. But because Felicia felt like they are a small brand and they started out even smaller, she wants to support other small micro creators on YouTube, Instagram, I'm sure across the board. So there is a list with a finite number of people who can be on it from the smaller channels. And last year I was on it and I mentioned to Felicia if they were looking for someone, if they were looking for someone else to add to the list who was maybe not just a middle-aged white woman, Shawnee would be an amazing fit. And she took that seriously and then eventually ended up offering Shawnee a position on the PR list, which I thought was so cool. You know, I don't, it's just the way they do it makes my heart happy. And I feel like when Felicia messaged me to let me know that I didn't make the list this year, I knew I wasn't going to. I was 99.9999% sure that I would not be getting PR from Nomad this year, and I was fine with it. I knew what to expect. And it definitely seemed like she maybe felt a little bit bad because I obviously love Nomad. Like, I just will go and go and go and go and go and go for Nomad. I like what they stand for. I like that the humans behind the brand seem to be so good. Felicia and I are very close in age, and I don't know. I know it's a brand and we're not friends, but it's just so cool. So this was a very long video. If you have any questions, just let me know. I can answer them or find the answers for you. Definitely, like I said, use somebody's code if you're gonna order anything. I do know that the Stargazing palette is not limited edition. It's going to be there for at least the next year, so there's no rush to get anything. Obviously, if you're looking for something that they're phasing out, there's a bit of a rush on because they're going to be gone. They do very little limited editions, so you don't have to fret about getting something right away. And they always let us know when something is being phased out. They always have a really, really good deal for like the Black Friday area time and Earth Day. Those are the 2 times a year that they have pretty darn good sales. So, you know, wait if you want to. You can't combine creators' codes with sales. So, you know, just bear that in mind. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed. I don't know. I know that I am absolutely looking forward to what they come out with the rest of this year. It's going to be amazing because they just get better and better all the time. All right, I will link my Nomad playlist below if you want to take a reconnoiter. I will link to the Nomad website. And none of this like benefits me at all. It's just an easy way for you to get there if you want to. And please leave me any questions you have and we'll answer them. I'll find the answer, you know, whatever. I'm a huge fan. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna stop. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.